Welcome back, Truth Seeker. February 1st, 2019, already into the second month of the new year. Just a reminder, time is flying. Whoops. I got my other monitor up so I can see the chat tonight. I'll keep my eye on it as we progress. We'll get into today's headlines, but let's first start with this day in history. And from Cleveland.com, they have the highlight of this day in history is February 1st, 1960. That's the day 4 black college students began a sit-in protest at Woolworth's lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina, where they had been refused service. And, of course, it's February 1st, Black History Month. What stands out about that year is that it was 1960, and it was a date with 63 numerology. February 1st, 62 plus 1 plus 60, 63. And notice Greensboro, NC, like I'd write it on an envelope, 63 in both reduction ciphers. Racism, 63. Last year in 2018, we saw the headline about the federal government opening up the Emmett Till case after 63 years. It's a number that shows up again and again in narratives that have to do with racism. Of course, Emmett Till was the little black boy supposedly killed for whistling at a white woman. Of course, February has the Gematria of 42, and the N-word has Gematria of 60 and 42, and this was in the year 1960 on February 1st. I should also note that college, just using our most pure cipher, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, college, career, average, all of those words sum to 32, and February 1st is the 32nd day of the year. So it was college students who were the protesters. In 1790 on this date, the U.S. Supreme Court convened for the first time in New York City. However, since only 3 of the 6 justices were present, the court recessed until the next day. February 1st, 90, that was a date with 93 numerology. New York, NY is 93. 93, as we know, is the number that symbolizes Saturn, and Saturn has to do with judgment. So I'm thinking, what a perfect day for the first Supreme Court gathering in New York, New York. February 1st can also be written 2/1. Saturn is also 21, like 2/1. In 1959, men in Switzerland rejected giving women the right to vote by more than 2-to-1 referendum margin, of course, on February 1st. Let me just pause for a moment. I didn't put this in this day in history, but let's not forget, this is the same day that the Patriots won Super Bowl 49, becoming 4-2 was Tom Brady and Bill Belichick against Washington, the 42nd state. And don't forget how that game ended on February 1st. Russell Wilson's 21st pass intercepted by number 21 at the goal line with the down 2nd and 1 on the date February 1st. Number 21 with the ball went to the ground with 21 seconds on the clock. When you write out 21, it's also 42. Brady and Belichick became 4-2 against the Seahawks from the 42nd state. So anyway, that 2-1 referendum margin just triggered that in my brain. Anyhow, the word woman has Gematria 21. When you write out 21, it's 42. Of course, February is 42. Female is also 42. So is lady. The word bitch with the alphabetic order even sums to 42. Female, lady, bitch, they're all 42. Feminine, when you flip the alphabetic order around and use numerology, is 42. So 42, this number associated with the feminine, February. Notice this took place in the year 59. We know how 59 and 42 often come together in Black history. Remember, there's a relationship with the digits 5 and 9. Out of all the single-digit numbers, the only 2 that sum to 42 are 5 and 9. 5 and 9 make up 59. So I think this was part of the ritual in this news as it was reported. In 1979, Iranian religious leader Ayatollah Khamenei received a tumultuous welcome in Tehran as he ended nearly 15 years of exile. This couldn't have been any more perfect. Again, here we are in February, the 42 month. Iran equals 42, Khomeini equals 42. And look at this. From his birthday to the day that he was welcomed back was his 131st day of his age. His full title equals 131. And 131 is also the 32nd prime number, and February 1st is the 32nd day of the year. Talked about before. Iran, part of the New World Order, all of their news reported the same way our news is. New World Order. So, can't emphasize it enough. In 2003, on this date, the Columbia broke apart, the major disaster. We just covered last week the parallels between the Challenger and the Columbia. Or I guess that was actually the beginning of this week. So I won't go over all that again. If you missed my video on the Challenger and Columbia parallels, check it out. But just following the 42 thing, again, February is 42. The space program, NASA, is run by Freemasonry. Freemason, 42. Spaceship, 42. Outer space, 42. All right. So everyone's been asking for so long, Zach, can you do something on this Tekashi69 trial? And really, I just haven't been that interested in it. But today, this headline, Tekashi69 pleads guilty to 9 counts. Drugs, guns, and robberies. And again, this is the man with the 69 tattooed on his head. Show you how this comes into play here in what's being said. So, read a little bit of this. We now have the transcript of Tekashi's plea hearing from last week. And he opens up about how he got involved in the criminal activity and does a lot of snitching. In court, he says he joined the 9 Trey Bloods in the fall of 2017, and in March 20th, 2018, he admits helping members of the gang attempt to kill a rival to increase my own standing in 9 Trey. Then on April 3rd, he says he and other members robbed a rival at gunpoint. He got into the Chief Keef shooting, saying in court, I paid a person to shoot at a rival member of the 9 Trey to scare him. The shooting took place in Manhattan. I did this to maintain or increase my own standing in 9 Trey. He admits knowing a fellow gang member was the trigger man. Tekashi also admitted to selling a kilo of heroin in 2017 and offered an apology for all his crimes, saying, I apologize to the court, to anyone who was hurt, to my family, friends, and fans for what I have done and who I have let down. Based on what we know, Tekashi has struck a plea deal which will increase the likelihood of a significantly reduced sentence in return for ongoing cooperation. Although the minimum sentence is 47 years, remember, judge, gavel, time, obey, they're all 47. The way it is typically works is the prosecution will ask for significantly less, which is his incentive to keep singing like a canary. Okay. So here we are on the first day of February. 9, we just talked about how 9 equals 42 like February. Plus this year, February 1st, 2019 is a date with 42 numerology. He's the man with the 69 tattooed on his face. And 9 Trey Bloods has Gematria 69. Supposedly this gang that, he was trying to get his street cred with, that got him in all this trouble. So what are the odds? You just got to say, what are the odds? He got famous off a song called Gumo 69. Again, like what's tattooed on his face. But notice this part up here about April 3rd, how it starts. Then on April 3rd, he says he and other members robbed a rival at gunpoint. The date April 3rd really jumps out here because it's the 93rd day of the year. Against Saturn, the keeper of time, connected to judgment. Notice the gematria of Saturn, 93, 21, 69, 42, our 4 base ciphers. All of these numbers pertain. The last date mentioned April 3rd, the 93rd day of the year. Here we are on February 1st, 2/1. Remember, this is the number that makes the most sense in regards to Saturn too, because 21's the sixth triangular number. If you had 1 through 6 together, it's 21. Saturn's the sixth planet from the sun. Saturn also equals 69, like what's tattooed on his face, and Saturn equals 42, like how we're on the first day of February, this date with 42 numerology. And again, Saturn, the keeper of time, he's facing at least 47 years. So no doubt about it, news by the numbers. Rap trials, this stuff's been going on for decades. Remember Snoop Dogg, he made the album Murder Was the Case after getting acquitted of murder charges. And his career got even bigger and bigger. So, also today, put out a quick video on this called Cory Booker and Kamala Harris's offices. Just in case you missed it, real quick, Cory Booker, puppet on strings. We've talked about him before. He announced he's running for president. I said more than a year ago, I expected there to be more black candidates than normal in this presidential election because it will be the 59th U.S. presidential election. And as we know, Negro, slave, blues, they all sum to 59. They called Barack Obama Renegade. That was his Secret Service call name, Renegade's 59. So it's the 59th U.S. presidential election. Cory Booker announces on the first day of Black History, this date with 42 numerology, February, the N-word, Jackie, slavery, Tuskegee, Martin, Malcolm X, all 42. When you write out 42, it's 142, like President Obama's 142. If you heard about the Democratic governor today, who supposedly was found in a yearbook in blackface and posed next to somebody in a KKK costume, that news comes on his 142nd day of his age. And he was born in 59, and he's 59 years old right now. But notice this, we talked about this before, it's been a while. From Obama's birthday to the start of Black History Month each year is 181 days, the 42nd prime number. And Barack Obama in Jewish Gematria is 181, our most important cipher outside of the base ciphers. Obama's also 84, like how his birthday is 84. Little too perfect, huh? I should have put it up here, the Renegade. Our brilliant caller in New York's the guy that figured that out. Renegade with the alphabetic order is 59, just like Negro, slave, blues, Rasta. But here's what it is for Cory Booker. From his birthday to today, the day he announces is his 281st day of his age, which is the 60th prime, and again, the N-word with the alphabetic order 60. Also 42, like the date numerology. Cory Booker, his name's 127. Remember how Kamala Harris, her full name, as we talked about, equals 127. She had her first presidential campaign on January 27th, 1/27. What are the odds that the two black candidates who are front and center right now, early to announce, both have names summing to 127? And remember, Stacey Abrams, her name equals 127. She's going to be giving the response to the State of the Union on her 59th day of her age. And it was announced that she would be the person to do that January 29th, which was a date with 42 numerology. All three of these black people front and center right now, all names that sum to 127, like Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Again, what's headquartered in Washington, D.C. I don't know how anyone can argue that this doesn't prove that these people are puppets, that they are born and bred to be, with all of these sick rituals planned along the way. Keep in mind, he's 49 years old right now. Scottish equals 49, Washington 49, America 49. Impossible coincidences. They bring up how Kamala Harris is from the Bay Area, where the Black Panther Party's from. Just for good measure, Black History Month 213, Black Panther 213, and Jewish Gematria Racism 213. Here's this story today in case you missed it. This emerged, an old yearbook photo. Amazing how they find this on the first day of Black History Month. Breaking news. The guy's name is Ralph Northam, 6363, like racism. Right where we began with the story from February 1st, 1960. The sit-in and Greensboro, North Carolina. And from Ralph Northam's birthday, again, born in 59, 59 years old, from his birthday to today, 142 days. Number related to 42. You could also say it's 141 days after his birthday. Remember when you write out 33, it equals 141, KKK's 33, race wars 33. So connections to both distances measured from the birthday. And don't forget September 13th can be written 13/9 like 139. Freemasonry 139. Tupac Shakur died on that day. Tupac Shakur equals 139. He died 213 days after the release of his last album, which was released on February 13th, 213. Joe Mo, great contributor. I'm not sure that he's actually on the Patreon, but he leaves a lot of good comments on YouTube. He made a good observation today. He said, Ham, the father of the black race in the Bible, sums to 59, and Ape does as well. And then he points out that in all four ciphers, Ham and Ape are a perfect overlap. And again, 59, that number comes up again and again. I should point out that today, February 1st, 2019, is also a date with 22 numerology. Notice words like Negro have the 59 and 22 thing, like Ham and Ape. Don't forget Tiger. Tiger's got that 59 thing going on. Remember the date of the Million Man March in D.C.? That was the day leaving 76 days left in the year. See how when you flip the alphabetic order around, Negro, Slave, Rasta, Blues, they're all 76. Tiger Woods also 76. Again, that's why these ciphers matter, forwards and backwards. You see how all these rituals go. And I should also note that today's the 32nd day of the year. Negro in the most pure ciphers, 32. So it's no accident that Cory Booker announced today. Not at all. And God, now that I think about it, Obama with the alphabetic order is 32 as well. I always thought of that in terms of America, because America is also 32, the nation built on slavery. Put out a quick video on this just in case you missed it. One of the founders of Tim Hortons died yesterday, January 31st, on Jackie Robinson's birthday. Tim Hortons, the coffee and donut chain. This might sound funny, but one of the worst mistakes in my life was not stopping at a Tim Hortons. Had I stopped at a Tim Hortons, I would have been a lot more comfortable than I ended up being. I don't know if you guys care about this story or not, but this really did happen once upon a time. Let me think about what year it was. It was 2006. And it was just before the Olympics were in Vancouver, BC. And I went with some friends on a road trip to go skiing and snowboarding up at Blackcomb Whistler. I'd never been there before. And there's a Tim Hortons not far before you get to the destination there at Whistler Village. And we almost stopped, but we said, no, let's just go. It's just not that much further to go. It's like 20 more minutes. We'll just get something once we get into town. Well, if we would have stopped, we would have found out what was going on up ahead. A truck had jackknifed, and it completely blocked the road going up to Whistler, and it was dumping snow. It was like it was nasty weather. And we ended up stuck in one spot. There was no way to turn around because other cars got behind us. And the way it was, we couldn't turn around. We got trapped up there, and we were stuck in one spot for 10 hours. 10 hours. And then when we were finally, the car that jackknife got moved, oh, man, we had to dig all this snow out. All these people were stuck. It was just a disaster. And I'm just thinking, had we gone to the Tim Hortons, we would have found out what was going on up ahead. And we could have had different plans for the night rather than just spend all night in a car freezing. Anyhow, about this man dies on the 31st. And again, he dies on Jackie Robinson's birthday. And here's why that matters. From the man's birthday, who just died, to his death was his 105th day of his age. His 105th. His name is Ron Joyce, 105. Now, the thing about Jackie Robinson is he was called up on the 105th day of the year. That's why Jackie Robinson Day is every single year on April 15th, the 105th day. So notice Ron Joyce also happens to have Gematria 42 like Jackie. Getting dead on his birthday. And just got to say, I mean, what are the odds? What are the odds of the way all of these things come together? I mean, first of all, what are the odds of his name equaling 105 and dying on 105th day of his age? But then the Jackie Robinson parallel. Don't forget that Masonry equals 105 and Freemasons 42. Also, his birthday, October 19th, 1019, the key digits 119. Tim Hortons has that 119 Gematria. And still to this day, I've never eaten at a Tim Hortons, but I wish I would have that night. All right. Supreme Court blocks Louisiana abortion law. This just happened this evening. Late breaking news. I was trying to find the original date when all this went into motion. I haven't been able to find it yet. But today has the 42 date numerology. We've already seen a lot of abortion related news to start this year. One of the big questions when Kavanaugh took the court is if he would work to overturn Roe versus Wade. I think whenever we get our announcement about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the next justice, I think that's going to be the signal for the coming overturning of Roe versus Wade. I have a feeling that this is something they're going to do. It'll cause a lot of friction in the nation, and that's what they like. It's the term pro-life equals 45. We have number 45 in the White House. He's already put in 2 Supreme Court justices. When Kavanaugh went in 2018, it was during the 45th year since Roe versus Wade. So anyhow, today has the 42 date numerology, more abortion-related information. Couldn't help but notice that Sam Alito, who signed off on the decision, from his birthday to today is 59 days. The 42s and the 59s really coming together today. So follow this story, see what happens. We have an NFL coach's death. Wade Wilson, former NFL player. As a player, get this. This man had 99 career touchdown passes. Here we are in the 99th NFL season. Not only that, but his birthday was today. He died on his birthday. He turned 60 years old and died today. And he was born Charles. Charles has the Gematria 42, like birthday, like February. The prime factorization of 42 is 2 times 3 times 7. Show you something here real quick. Or hold on. Show you something real quick. Do you see something here? Do you see something here? Two times 3 times 7. It's going to be Jared Goff's 42nd playoff game as well. Also important, this man was born in 1959. It's the Patriots' 59th season. 59's the 17th prime. It's the rematch of the Super Bowl from 17 years ago, the Patriots and the Rams. The Patriots won that last Super Bowl 20-17. Now here's that matchup 17 years later. It's the 17-year anniversary of 9/11. We talked about why that was such a big deal. We talked about after week 1 of the NFL. For people who forget, week 1 of the NFL season. Monday Night Football was on September 10th. It was a doubleheader. It lasted so long, it went into September 11th, the day leaving 111 days left in the year. And the 4 games that were played, or excuse me, the 2 games that were played and the 4 teams, they combined for 111 points. And in the early hours of September 11th, they made sure to show on TV for 10 or 15 seconds a woman holding up her wrist with a Star of David on it. And I made a video after that. It's still up on the sports channel. It might even be up on my main channel too. But I said, could this be a signal that we're going to get a rematch of the Super Bowl? from after 9/11, where the Patriots emerged after 9/11 in the Patriot Act? Well, lo and behold, here we are. Couldn't help but notice this man's full name, Charles Wade Wilson, 74, the big Masonic signature. Wilson has the Gematria 34, the Super Bowl on the 34th day of the year. 191 is the 43rd prime, football 43. So he's got some interesting numbers. Super Bowl's on a date with 44 numerology in Georgia, Georgia 44. When I woke up this morning, this was how the front page looked. We'll talk about this Elizabeth Warren thing too. But the front page looked like this. It said a FedEx worker found dead in a delivery facility was one of 17 people killed in extreme weather. And as we know, kill has Gematria 17. So I click on the story, and when the story loads up, it says 20 people have been killed. 20 people have been killed. And what's funny about that is death equals 20 and cold equals 20. So I was thinking, is it 17 or is it 20? But either way, we know why they're reporting the numbers that they are. And again, as many homeless people are in this nation, I got to imagine that there's more dead people than they're really reporting. I've heard some people tell me that it hasn't been as cold as it's been reported in the media. I've heard some people tell me it's absolutely freezing. I've heard other people say it seems like it's being overstated. So all I can tell you out here is in Washington State, things are pretty normal. But a lot of chemicals in the sky, absolutely. We'll get to this Elizabeth Warren thing too. That factored into another headline they had up today. Another story, father charged with rape after missing Tennessee girl is found in Wisconsin. And think about that. We just heard a big story about a missing teen girl in Wisconsin, Jamie Kloss. Now another missing teen girl found in Wisconsin. This news comes on a date with 22 numerology. Rape equals 22. Story is a 14-year-old girl who disappeared from Tennessee more than 2 weeks ago has been found alive in Wisconsin, and her father is now charged with rape, authorities said Thursday. The girl is doing fine, Sheriff Tommy Jones Monroe of Monroe County, Tennessee, said Thursday. Randall Pruitt, who adopted the girl, was arrested Thursday. So it looks like the story happened yesterday. It was a top story this morning. Randall Pruitt, who adopted the girl, was arrested Thursday in Tennessee and charged with rape, the sheriff said. The girl would be the victim in that, Jones said. The sheriff did not provide many details about the case in a news conference Thursday, but said there could be additional suspects. So what I noticed right away about this man's name is Pruitt has Gematria 58, and so does Randall Pruitt. And of course, the word father with the alphabetic order is 58. It's a story about a father raping his adoptive daughter. Pruitt also has Gematria of 104, as does father. And notice Pruitt's 32, and so is father. So, again, if it's in the news, I usually find it as suspect and propaganda and programming. The thing is, stuff like this really does happen in the world. I mean, I used to work in a group home where there were all sorts of children with these kind of case files. So I know it absolutely happens. It doesn't even have to be an adoptive father. I mean, there's fathers who rape their children, their own blood. So this is something that goes on in the world, but it's just when it's in the news, I mean, why is it just always so perfectly coded? That's what we always come back to. And again, why Wisconsin, a missing girl? Are they going somewhere with this narrative? Is it leading up to a bigger story? There's probably a greater puzzle here. In light of him being arrested on the 31st of January, father is 31. A story again about a father after his daughter. They didn't put out the girl's name, so you just have the father. They said the girl was also last seen January 13th, 113, or also 13/1, like 131, the 32nd prime, father against 32, so was Pruitt. This news story, a top headline on the 32nd day. of the year, February 1st. Here's a story that emerged last night. Leaving Facebook makes people happier but less informed, study says. It's funny. I never really thought. I mean, it depends on who you follow on Facebook, right? I mean, there's some people that post good information, but most stuff on Facebook isn't really stuff that keeps you informed. Maybe in consumer culture or the latest funny meme, but this story, of course, comes on the 31st. It's it's just more Facebook news by the numbers. Facebook 31. It's funny how it was reported that so many people left Facebook in the last year, but they recorded that record profit as we just covered the other day. I still can't get over that. Getting the big bucks for handing over the user data. I got to admit, though, there is an element of truth to this headline. I mean, being in front of the computer so much, it definitely doesn't breed happiness. The things that breed happiness in most human beings are having good community, being around friends, having a true social interaction. And again, that's really what we got to do. And last night, I don't know if Fermenti's in the chat right now. He might be busy. He called and talked to me for a while, and he's really pushing. He's like, Zach, that's what you got to do. You got to figure out how to create that community. Get the people who want to be in the community, make their own agriculture, be around people who are, on the same page, care about truth. He's like, that's where it's at. That's what you got to push for. And I already know that, but it was just nice talking to him about it. He said he would be very happy to help such a community with his knowledge. He's very good as a farmer, has a lot of other skills as well. But yeah, that's what this story reminded me of. Need that real human interaction. Here's another good one. A meteorite may have struck Western Cuba, National Weather Service says. It's like, why does this need to be an international news story? A meteorite may have struck Western Cuba. I mean, again, sometimes I just think with these news stories, they're sending secret messages to their cohorts. Today's the 32nd day of the year where this meteorite might have hit is a location with 32 gematria. The word meteor has gematria 32. If you don't know the difference between a meteor and a meteorite, the difference is when the meteor actually makes it to the Earth's surface, then it goes from a meteor to a meteorite. So this might have just been a meteor, or it might have been a meteorite. They don't know for sure. But regardless, they made it top news. See if they have any follow-up. Yesterday, good caller from New York phoned in and asked if we could look into the Purdue Pharma lawsuit by Massachusetts, which happened yesterday, Thursday, January 31st. They're being accused of contributing to the opioid crisis in the state. OxyContin, what's at the center of the lawsuit? So notice the name of the company, Purdue. Lawsuit's on the 31st. Purdue's 31. Opioid crisis, opioid 31. So what a perfect day for a lawsuit. And opioid crisis also has the gematria of 179, which is the 41st prime, and OxyContin has that gematria of 41. 41 is the 13th prime, the reflection of 31, the story on the 31st. Notice where the story begins. The first 9 months of 2013. So again, you got to ask, why? Is it all just a show? Big business with government research and handing over the research paid for with our tax dollars to these corporations that then market and sell these drugs at enormous prices to the consumers. who paid for the drugs, for the research and development, essentially with their tax dollars? I couldn't believe this story that CNN had up today. This was, they didn't have this up as the top headline, but if you're familiar with CNN's page, I'll show you where it was. It might even still be up there. Oh, they changed it now. You know, they'll have their top stories up like this, and then they'll have another story right here. This is where it was this morning. So Lindsey Vonn hanging up her skis. It's probably a story by the numbers itself, but European colonizers killed so many Native Americans that it changed the global climate, researchers say. So I thought, what in the world? Where are they going to go with this story? And keep in mind, the story comes on February 1st, which is the 32nd day of the year. They're saying this happened in all of the Americas, America 32. On the 32nd day of the year, don't forget 7/4/1776, a date with 32 numerology. What jumped out right away to me is that this comes just 2 days before the Super Bowl to conclude the 99th NFL season. And I predicted in the offseason that there would be this native genocide theme in this year's NFL season because the United States of America began with a native genocide. So in this article, well, let me just read a little bit of this and then I'll show you what stands out. When Europeans arrived in the Americas, they caused so much death and disease that it changed the global climate, a new study finds. European settlers killed 56 million indigenous people over about 100 years in South, Central, and North America, causing a large swaths of farmland to be abandoned and reforested, researchers at University College London, or UCL, estimate. The increase in trees and vegetation across an area the size of France resulted in a massive decrease in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, according to the study. Carbon levels changed enough to cool the Earth by 1610, researchers found. Columbus arrived in 1492. It's interesting that from 1492 to 1610 is 118 years. And as we know, death is 118. Remember what happened on 11/8 in California last year, November 8th. The Paradise and Los Angeles fires. CO2 and climate had been relatively stable until this point, said UCL geography professor Mark Maslin, one of the study's co-authors. So this is the first major change we see in the Earth's greenhouse gases. Before this study, some scientists had argued the temperature changes in the 1600s, called the Little Ice Age, was caused only by natural forces. So very interesting. Never heard that before. They're saying a lot of forests grew back after the genocide of the natives. I always thought it was just the opposite, that once we came here and genocided, we ended up cutting down a lot more of the forest to build the towns that we did. Anyway, in light of the Christopher Columbus reference, let's not forget what happened in the 99th NFL season on Christopher Columbus Day. You had the New Orleans Saints genocide the Redskins 43-19. And on that same day in Major League Baseball, you had the two native teams get eliminated. Dodgers beat the Braves 6-2, like 62 combined points in this game. Genocide with the alphabetic order 62. And then you had the Astros win 11-3. The Astros had won the 113th World Series a year earlier. United States has the Gematria 113. And then you had the Red Sox, who went on to win the World Series, blow out the Yankees. And of course, we predicted the Red Sox, if they were going to make the World Series, they'd win in Game 5, 99 days from the Super Bowl, which they did. New England equals 99. But notice genocide also has gematria of 154. So does ritual sacrifice. The old baseball season used to be 154 games. The Red Sox in their 154th regular season game tied their all-time win record. Boston Red Sox is also 154. So I thought that was interesting, in light of the Red Sox having such a huge game on that same day where the native teams got genocided. Again, all this was on Christopher Columbus Day. But that was the theory before the season began. Notice how the AFC Championship ended in the NFL season. Tom Brady got his 99th career road win, beating the Chiefs at home, kind of like the natives at home getting beat by the white Patriots. Again, this story comes right before the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl that will be on February 3rd, or 3/2, like 32 teams in the NFL. NFL equals 32 as well. Here, read a little bit more about how they arrived at this. So this is the methodology for how they came to this conclusion about the genocide of the natives changing the Earth's atmosphere. Researchers analyzed Antarctic ice, which traps atmospheric gas and can reveal how much carbon dioxide was in the atmosphere centuries ago. The ice cores showed that there was a larger dip in CO2 in 1610, which was caused by the land and not the oceans, said Alexander Cope, lead author of the study. Small shift in temperatures, about 1/10 of a degree in the 17th century, led to colder winters, frosty summers, and failing harvests, Cope said. The implications of the study go beyond climate science and also contribute to research in geography and history, Maslin said, noting that deaths of indigenous Americans directly contributed to the success of the European economy. Natural resources and food shipped from the New World helped Europe's population to expand. It also allowed people to stop farming for sustenance and begin working in other industries for spare money. The really weird thing is the depopulation of the Americas may have inadvertently allowed the Europeans to dominate the world, Maslin said. It also allowed for the Industrial Revolution and for Europeans to continue that domination. Oh, really weird. Not like it was all, I mean, isn't it just funny how they treat us? Obviously an agenda. It is about dominating the world. Britain is, the arrogant nation that came up with the phrase that the sun never sets on Britain. But always new studies, new science. Every generation gets a new story about the past, the present, what's expected. That's why nobody knows what to think. Great research here from another guy who does a lot of good commenting on my normal YouTube channel. He noticed some more 118s with San Francisco, and after reading his comment, I even found another 118. So he pointed out 44 days, including the end date from the anniversary of the founding of San Francisco to August 11, 2019. So I checked it out. He's right. St. Francis of Assisi, the man who the city takes its name from, died at age 44. He's right. St. Francis of Assisi equals 118 in reverse full reduction. He is right. August 11, 2019 to the birthday of St. Francis is a span of 54 days later, including the end date. Remember how London breeds 54? Somebody pointed out yesterday what's going on at the San Francisco Giants game on August 11, 2019. We'll revisit that. I didn't know where he was going with the Psalms 142 thing. I'll have to think about that more. Maybe somebody else knows out there. And the Pope Francis thing, I wasn't quite getting where he was going with that. But I noticed that San Francisco, its date of establishment, June 29th, 1776. That's a date with 118 numerology. San Francisco was founded on a date. Wait a minute, you guys. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my math is bad. I apologize. My math is bad. It's not true. It's 128. Always double check. Okay. Thought there was another 118, but it is very interesting that St. Francis of Assisi, which the city's named after, is 118. And from the establishment date to August 11th, 44 days, like how we died at age 44. Yesterday also, caller pointed out, we got to thinking about what's going on with the San Francisco Giants on that day. They are hosting the Philadelphia Phillies, and they're going to have a reunion for the 1989 World Series team that experienced the earthquake. And we've been theorizing, could there be a natural disaster, or at least as it's reported on that day? August 11th is the 223rd day of the year. Oh, that's where he was going with the 142. I see now, because August 11th leaves 142 days left in the year. That's right. But August 11th is the 223rd day of the year. Natural disasters 223. They're playing Philadelphia, the biblical city. We're looking at August 11th, 2019 because of the biblical riddle. Philadelphia is 223. Again, Philadelphia, the letters written to them about the synagogue of Satan. This whole prophecy has to do with Revelation, where Philadelphia is named from. Of course, Philadelphia and the Bay Area also have the strong connection through sports. But Philadelphia, the synagogue of Satan, 223, natural disaster, 223. This team being remembered that was in the World Series that had the natural disaster, at least is how it was reported in the history books. And again, just as a reminder, that earthquake in 1989 World Series struck at 5:04 p.m. Baseball equals 54. London Breed equals 54. I've been talking about that. The mayor who's going to have her birthday on August 11th. The last thing shown on TV before the earthquake cut the channel to fuzz was Jose Canseco crossing home plate in a replay from the night prior. And again, from Jose Canseco's birthday that year to the earthquake was 107 days. His full name's 107. Earthquake's 107, so was military. And again, 5:04 p.m. World Series quake, baseball 54. Now we got London Breed 54, who's got the birthday. She's going to turn 45 as the 45th mayor. I mean, it's funny that we started talking about this in September, and since then we've just seen how many more things have come to light. And back when we made that prediction, the baseball schedule wasn't even out. So I think we're definitely onto something with August 11, 2019. Again, I've said that since the beginning, and just more and more, the riddle builds. So we're not quite at an hour yet, and I like to make this go an hour. I can talk to the chat. We can also look at this Lindsey Vonn story. I'm just a little bit curious about this. Lindsey Vonn, popular athlete. She's hanging up her skis today. October 18th. She's 34 years old. I just want to see how many days it is from her birthday to this announcement today. "106 days. It's also a span of 107, the 28th prime. 3 months and 14 days, kind of like pi. Let's see what her name equals. I've noticed Gematria, the website, has been running a lot better today. Not so many errors. 103, the 27th prime. 153, the 17th triangular. On the surface, I don't see the only thing I could say is that her name has this gematria of 144, which has a square root of 12. Today, February 1st, 1/2, kind of like 12. She's also a big female athlete, and we know February is 42, so is female, so is lady, so is feminine. There's probably a greater riddle there. I have to go through her career. But usually when big name athletes retire, they don't retire on just any coincidental date. Guess I could look at her surname and her first name. She's retiring at age 34. Lindsay's 34. What's skiing? I saw another. I saw there was actually another athlete retirement today. Julius, is it Julius Peppers? Is that who it is? This guy's been in the NFL forever. 39 years old. His retirement was announced today as well. January 18th. Funny how the 118s are popping. Her birthday was October 18th, January 18th. Funny. Look at that. He's got 99 birth numerology. 1 plus 18 plus 80, 99. Here we are to conclude the 99th NFL season. He also has 118 birth numerology. Funny. Caller?
It's the New York caller again, Zach.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm okay. 3 days in a row now.
I like it that way.
Yeah, thanks. You're spoiling me. Remember yesterday you were asking about my decode of the documentary about the bridge. Remember that?
Right.
I said I'd send you an email, but I don't know if you got the email.
I didn't see it yet. I need to go check.
I can tell you now what is on the email.
Please.
I sent it at like 5 a.m. New York time.
Okay.
But yeah. Before that, it's another. As far as what we're talking about with the 59 again, there's another 59. African Americans, especially the most prominent, famous African Americans, what are they most known for? Is it sports and entertainment? Sports is entertainment, but the word entertainment is 59.
In our base ciphers?
That's another entertainment.
Okay, I haven't noticed that before. I'm gonna type it in right now. Huh? Yeah. Yeah.
And that's related to African Americans.
I see the 76 as well. It's 59 and 76, like Negro, like slave, like blues.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that too.
It's also 193, the 44th prime number, and in the septenary cipher, African Americans 44.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a major word.
Interesting.
Also, remember when Michelle Tafoya did that numerology on Sunday Night Football?
Oh, right.
I don't know if you mentioned it, but it occurred to me when I heard about that. Earlier that week, you had left a message to the NFL. You remember you called the NFL and you left a message? I mean, maybe you're being humble, but I honestly I don't think it's a coincidence that after you called, they did that. I really believe they did that in response to the phone message that you left them.
They really might have. The weirdest thing that's ever happened, in my opinion, is when I made the comment during the Dodgers World Series 2 years ago about how they did this shaming ritual with Kelly Jensen, and I compared it to Tupac and his thing. And then the very next game, while he was on the mound, Joe Buck made a comment about how they were playing Tupac. I was like, why would he say that after what I just did in the video? So, yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. I was convinced that I don't think they listened to your message. And so you know that they're listening to you.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah. Also, so about the bridge documentary that you're asking what my decode was, I went and dug it out. I added a few things as well. I found a few things. So the bridge it's a documentary film. It's about the San Francisco Golden State Bridge. It's a documentary that came out in 2006. And what they did was they filmed for a year the suicides off the Golden State Bridge. So it's kind of a morbid enterprise.
Right.
But still, the bridge is it's associated with death. And you know that the ruling elite, they're a death cult. They're dark occultists. You could Skull and Bones, they're a death cult. But the bridge, so what I had in the decode was, the first thing, they said that the film was directed, produced, and filmed by Eric All right,
good
so
name.
I did the Gematria on Eric Steele. Eric Steele 96, Freemason 96. Eric Steele 42, Freemason 42.
Huh.
Eric Steele 147, Freemason 147. So I think I know what he's associated with.
Right.
So I looked on the Wikipedia, their page on Eric Steele. I think, oh, he's a film producer. Yeah, he must have a lot of stuff on him. His birthday and his no, not at all. They have almost nothing on him, on his background at all. All they have to say is that Eric Steele is a filmmaker who produced The Bridge.
He went to Yale. He went to Yale. I see that on his Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to say. Besides that, the only other thing is Steele graduated from Yale University in 1985.
Yeah.
And what is Yale University known for? Skull and Bones. So what is Skull and Bones? Like you always say, where does the logo come from? It comes from the Knights Templar ossuary.
Right, 118.
Their headquarters in New Haven, Connecticut is called the Crypt. So yeah, they're a death cult, and what a coincidence. He went to Yale, and he's best known for making a movie about death and suicide.
Right.
So, and this is another thing. They say they showed his filmography, or I guess that's the word they use, I think. His next movie after that was titled Kiss the Water. Now, that movie's supposedly about fly fishing, but when you consider what his previous best-known work is about, it gives a different meaning to the term kiss the water. And this is just like you talk about the mocking that they do.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, kiss the water, yeah. That's their dark humor.
2013, yeah.
The movie, The Bridge, it features 23 suicides. When I do gematria on the phrase 23 suicides, it's 261. The release date of the movie in Britain is 16th February. 162. The reflection of 261. Also, February is significant. February is 96, Freemason 96, Eric Steele 96. February 42, Freemason 42, Eric Steele 42. February 48, Freemason 48. The Bridge was released in the United States, that's back in 2006, on October 27th. That's 10/27, 127. The word suicides has gematria of 127. The movie focuses primarily on the personality of Gene Sprague, or Sprague, Sprague, who jumped to his death on May 11th. That's 5/11. And as we know, those of us familiar with gematria and symbolism, 5/11 is the Saturn number. 511 is the value of Saturn.
Bob Marley died that day in history. Saturn equals 5/11 in Jewish, 93 in ordinal. Bob Marley's 93 in ordinal. It's the day he died.
Yeah, I was going to get to Bob Marley as well.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. So Wikipedia article, this is what it states regarding this Gene Sprague's suicide. Throughout the movie, they had actually interviewed him. They're at his house. They were interviewing his friends, his family. So throughout the movie, you get to know him. It's like a character development, is what they call it in movies. So you kind of get a sense of who he is. That leads up to so he's like the main focus of the movie. So you're supposed to get a sense of like you knew the person. Like I don't even know if he's a real person. I know he might not even be, but
sure.
But anyway, as they say, on the May 11th, 2004, this is a quote from this Wikipedia article. Sprague appeared at the Golden Gate Bridge and walked back and forth over the bridge for 93 minutes.
Yeah, I see it.
Why would you give a number that precise? Wouldn't you say for an hour and a half?
Right.
They had to get that 93, and it says that now, as you just said, 93 is a Saturn number.
Right.
Now, just like you mentioned the Bob Marley. Bob Marley is 93 in gematria. Bob Marley died on May 11th. That's the same 93 May 11 combination that you get with this spray, because he walked back and forth for 93 minutes on May 11th before committing suicide. But interestingly, Bob Marley also equals 51. The Golden Gate Bridge construction started on 5th January, 5-1. The gematria of 511 spelled out is 51.
Huh.
There's another jumper featured in the film. There's somebody named Kevin Hines, who somehow survived his jump. They said like a seal broke his fall. That's their story.
A seal?
Yeah, that's it.
That's,
and then he survived.
come on, man.
I think he was paralyzed, but he survived. He said like the mockery and stuff.
Yeah, I'm reading it on Wikipedia as you're talking about it, because I got to think of, yeah, I see it. His life was saved by a black seal swimming below him. Oh, no.
Well, in Jewish ordinal, I've seen Jewish ordinal used, not just by Derek. It does, the numbers in Jewish ordinal, I find that they do come up a lot. They do seem to use, I think they are using Jewish ordinal.
They very well could. They very well could.
Yeah, but the name Kevin Hines is 115.
Huh, like May 11th.
Yep. On the bridge, there are signs posted, call 511 for traffic information.
Huh.
And those are posted all over the bridge. In fact, if you go to in the Bay Area, you can actually Google, or type in 511.org, like the number is 511.org, and that will take you to the Bay Area traffic information. So if you want to know what the traffic is like on the bridge.
Huh.
It's also reported that during the shooting of the bridge, the jump rate average was one person every 15 days.
So they went crazy with that number.
Yeah, no, they really emphasized it.
Well, remember,
that's how a ritual.
I was just going to say Freemasons, the plural is 115, Masonics 115, killing is 115 with the reverse alphabetic order and Jewish gematria, so there's a reason.
Yeah, it's funny how these Freemason numbers keep coming up. Huh?
Right.
But also, remember when I told you about the Temple of Solomon replica that was built in Sao Paulo, Brazil?
Right.
Yeah, there's something going on in Sao Paulo. That's another area of the world where there are a lot of these significant New World Order rituals. They just had a New World Order president elected, Bolsonaro, in Brazil.
Right.
Well, they arrested the popular leader, Lula da Silva. He arrested him. And it's more like a coup, but he's a New World Order president in Brazil. There's a lot going on in Brazil. He's like Trump. He's a clone of Trump. He looks like... him and Trump look like two actors who are reading the same script.
Right.
It's like they're acting out the same role. Like it's amazing.
They call him the Trump of Brazil, right?
Yes. But it's not even like those are their real personalities. Almost like they're actors, and this is one role that they've both studied and they're acting out.
Right.
But in Sao Paulo, they built this Temple of Solomon replica. It was officially inaugurated July 31st, 2014. From July 31st, 2014 to August 11th, 2019, 5 years and 11 days.
Huh, crazy. And again, just so people get that connection, again, August 11, 2019's Tisha B'Av, to remember the destruction of the temples, the first of which was Solomon's temple. So.
Yep. So the Golden Gate of Solomon's temple, which is also the East Gate and the Gate of Mercy, we talked about this, how Gate of Mercy equals 118 in Gematria.
Mm-hmm.
I think the caller from Berkeley who pointed that out. And I mentioned yesterday that the Sephirot on the Kabbalah Tree of Life and the Pillar of Mercy in Kabbalah is called Chesed, Chesed. If you look at Gematria of Chesed, it's 118, and in Jewish Gematria, it's 115.
What's that word again?
It's
Oh yeah,
E.
just said right,
E-D.
right. From the Tree of Life.
That's yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. And also the star, quote unquote, of the film, Gene Sprague, who jumped on May 11th. Gematria of Gene Sprague. Gene, Gene.
118. Yeah, it's 118. I see it.
Yep, it was 118.
Wow.
Also, the Golden Gate is also known as the Gateway of God, as opposed to the Silver Gate, which is the Gateway of Man. The Golden Gate, in ancient Akkadian, the word for gate is Bab. The word in ancient Akkadian for God is Elo. Elohim is the plural of its gods, like Im is the plural. So God singular is Elo. So Bab Elo means gateway of God, and from that you get the word Babylon. So Babylon literally means gateway of God, which is the Golden Gate. The Gematria of Babylon is 118.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
The bridge, yep. The bridge was supposedly, you'll see on the top of the Wikipedia article on the bridge, it'll tell you that the bridge was inspired by a writer named Tad Friend, who wrote in a 2003 article in the New Yorker magazine, and the article was titled "Jumpers." Yeah, so this guy Steele, his story is, oh wow, this guy Tad Friend wrote this article, and that inspired me to make the movie. I mean, I don't know who's buying that, but right. So I did the Gematria on the name of the writer Tad Friend. Tad Friend has Gematria of 81, just like London Breed is 108. Just, similar. But Tad Friend equals 45, and you know how 45 is a big number with the Golden Gate process.
Golden Gate's 45, and Golden Gate Bridge, if I'm not mistaken, is 81. Yeah, Golden Gate Bridge is 81, and Golden Gate's 45.
Yeah, and Tad Friend is 81 and 45. Tad Friend is 54, just like London Breed is 54. And if I write the Jumpers is 45 and 54. So this writer Tad Friend, he's quoted right into the whole ritual as well. And
wait, was that connected to the Bridge film as well?
Yes. If you see the top of the article, their story is that Tad Friend wrote a 2003 article in the New Yorker titled "Jumpers," and it was that article that inspired Eric.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, but he tied in by the numbers as well.
You know what I just noticed while writing out Golden Gate Bridge is it sums to 135, and again, that's the huge Philadelphia number, and it's weird that the Phillies are playing baseball that day. Again, Philadelphia was established on a date with 135 numerology, and they have a million connections to 135. So, God, it just gets more and more interesting. It's blowing my mind here.
Yeah, but it shows you the depths they go to. In ritual magic, what they say is that the more layers you put to the magic, the more effective it is. That's why it's this detailed.
Right.
To make the magic more effective.
Right.
If you put layers of, yeah. So this may seem slightly off topic, but it kind of is relevant. Like it was meant, we've been talking about this earlier. The caller yesterday, he said he was pulled over by police.
Right.
And what they call him Bravo Mike for a black male, which comes out to 42.
Right.
Then you had either somebody I think wrote in. He was talking about Ape and Ham, how they have perfect synchronicity.
Right.
Well, this is along those lines, which is kind of related to this as well. You think of a stereotype of black people is that they have an athletic ability, and that's I guess that's symbolized by the ability to jump. You know, they say white men can't jump.
White men can't jump. That's right, Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, So jumping is a stereotype of blacks. Now, think, if you take gematria of the word jumpers and the N-word.
Huh.
Jumpers is 102. Jumper 102 like the N-word. Jumpers is 30 like the N-word.
And
Jumpers
42. Wow.
42 like.
That's weird. Yeah, that's weird.
Now think. Now, what athletes do? I mean, besides a high jumper, what other athletes do you have to be proficient in jumping abilities? Basketball players, right?
Right.
So in light of what we're talking about, the Golden Gate Bridge where people jump off. What basketball team has a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge as their logo? The Golden State Warriors, right?
I do believe is it the Golden State Bridge that's their logo, or is it the other bridge? It's one of those two, though.
Yeah, I forgot about it. I don't know if it's the Bay. Yeah, it might be the Bay Bridge. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, I did gematria on the name Warriors, and it lines up with Revelation,
right?
Antichrist,
right?
York Wright, Fellow Craft, and Nairobi. I mentioned Nairobi because clearly I talk about how they're introducing these RFID chips and all the bombings that are going on in Nairobi and the Judeo-Babylonian Freemason rituals that are going on with the Westgate Mall. So yeah, Nairobi plus they had the replica Ark of the Covenant in Nairobi, just like they did in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Right.
So that's a key New World Order ritual location as well. So, but Nairobi is 121 and 49. York Wright is 121 and 49. Fellow Craft is 121 and 49. Antichrist 121 and 49. Revelation 121 49. Warriors 121 49. Also, in light of the fact that York Wright lines up, the York family owns the San Francisco 49ers.
Right. Right.
And I mentioned this before to you that if you take the word Grim Reaper, which the Grim Reaper is a representation of Saturn, and Saturn rules Capricorn, which in astrology, Capricorn is the Golden Gate.
You know what else? So, Grim Reaper has good overlap with Philadelphia too. 65 and 61, just like Philadelphia in the same cipher. Because I'm just thinking about all the Philadelphia stuff now that Philadelphia is in town that day for baseball, and they're having the reunion of the Earthquake team.
Well, okay, that's a good observation. I had that. Grim Reaper, what I was going to say, it syncs up with, and I told you this before.
The fault line. Yeah.
Loma Prieta fault line.
Right. Okay, so you have the Earthquake team in Philadelphia there. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, okay, we're connecting dots here.
And for people who don't know, there was the viral image of the Grim Reaper over the Golden Gate Bridge that came out. Was it on the day leaving 160 days left in the year? I want to look up this post real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, man, it's crazy how it all comes together.
Yeah, but this is how ritual magic works.
Yeah.
Some of it may be just organic, but also when you're focusing that, they've got really qualified adepts at ritual magic that they got like the best, if you want to call it that. And they're like really, and this is like century, not millennial old practices, kind of knowledge that they're putting into this.
Right.
So we're probably just scratching the surface with this,
That's right.
But if you look at compare Grim Reaper and Loma Prieta, Grim Reaper 110, Loma Prieta 110, Grim Reaper 160, Loma Prieta 160, Grim Reaper 61, Loma Prieta 61. So they match up in 3 out of the 4 base ciphers. Right.
I just put it up on the screen so people can see this. So this image of the Grim Reaper over the Golden Gate Bridge appeared July 24th. That's the day leaving 160 days left in the year. And Grim Reaper and Loma Prieta, the fault line there, are both 160. So something else.
Yes. And lastly, remember Dave or the Galactic Tick?
Oh yeah, how could I forget?
Yeah, you had him on the show, and he was basically a filibustering. He knew all about what you were saying. He was playing dumb, believe me. You would ask him, like, are you a Freemason? And he just kind of kept quiet. Like, if you weren't, you just say, like, no, of course not. Well, what makes you think? But he just kept quiet. You kind of got, I don't think you were expecting that.
I think what happened with that guy is he couldn't believe that there was somebody in the world who understood why he set up Galactic Tick Day for the day he did, and it pissed him off. That's the way it seemed to me. Because it was like, if you think it's so dumb, why do you want to entertain me and keep talking to me? Because he's reached out to me a number of times, and I finally called him a K the last time we talked, and I haven't heard since. But yeah, he was really getting under my skin because he was just, yeah, he's like a human troll. So anyway.
Yeah, that's basically what he was. He was trolling you. That's what he was doing. But you know how those who don't want the information out there will troll you. Like, they'll even pay trolls to, like, 24/7 sit there and just troll your Patreon show.
Right.
So you're going to be trolled, and that's what he was. But he was playing dumb. The Golden Gate, in esoteric terms, in esoteric astrological terms, it refers to a metaphorical archway, like the Arc de Triomphe, those fancy arcs that they built in old Europe. It's a metaphorical golden archway, which is a portal between Earth and the center of the Milky Way galaxy, around which the solar system revolves. And that's what in the article they gave is I saw an article about him in the Fort Wayne Journal Gazette. His name was Dave Snyder, and what he was celebrating is that Golden Gate archway portal between Earth and the center of the galaxy around which the solar system revolves. That's what he was celebrating. So he's clearly schooled in the mysteries. And a key to my assertion of that is where he lives. He lived in San Francisco. Huh. So is that really a coincidence? He lives in San Francisco, and he comes up with this event that celebrates the Golden Gate. That's what the Golden Gate is. That's the point between Earth and that point around which the galaxy is taking.
Right.
So
I'm reminded, as you said San Francisco, it just clicked into my mind that the Church of Satan was once established in San Francisco. I think in the year 66.
Yeah, Anton LaVey, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people talk about how Washington D.C. and Paris, like how those cities are designed around Masonic and ancient mystery, sacred geometry, those kind of things. Well, San Francisco is the same as well. San Francisco is just not as well known for that, but San Francisco is exactly the same. There are all sorts of symbolism coded into the planning of the city. But I put his last name is Snyder. He spells his name Snyder Sneider. It can also be spelled Snyder, but he spells it Sneider. So Snyder has gematria of 115.
Perfect.
And the title to the article about him in the Fort Wayne Journal Gazette is "California Man Hopes to Inspire Galactic Awe."
Huh.
So galactic awe is 68. Just like Antichrist is 68. Also, Dave Snyder, granted, he doesn't spell his name this way, but the alternate spelling for the name Snyder, if you spell Snyder Snyder, and again, he doesn't spell his name that way, but I just thought, let me just see what the gematria is on the alternate spelling of Snyder. Dave Snyder, spelled Snyder, is 45 and 54, just like Pat Friend, who supposedly inspired the movie, is 45 and 54. London Breed is 54 both ways, and all the 45s, like, there's a huge number. The Turns of the Jumpers is 45 and 54. Yeah, so, yeah, that's my decode on the bridge.
An amazing decode as always. I appreciate it, man. Great work.
I appreciate you. Thanks for the platform.
Of course. Yeah, you have a good night. Take care.
All right, you too.
All right, truth seekers. There's one more thing I got to do before we leave. I feel like I'm missing something with this Lindsey Vonn. I got to see what Olympian is. Olympics. There's got to be something here. Olympian. There it is. There it is. 42. That makes sense. You know, she's a female, 42, February 42. That's it. That's got to be it. Hello?
Hello, Zach. Brandon again, calling from the Gate of Severity. How you doing today?
Awesome, man. Thanks for calling back.
Absolutely, man. I just wanted to give some closure on a few things that I might have missed before.
Please.
So let's see here. 540. I had 540 all along. I wasn't missing it. Golden Gate equals 540 in Sumerian.
Ah.
So that is again, in the pentagram, that would be the 540 is all of the obtuse interior angles added together.
Right.
So 108 times 5 is 540.
Right.
And then also, a 180 is 36 times 5, which is the interior angles of the points of the stars.
Right.
So 180 is, again, not only is the birthday of Mayor London Breed on August 11th, but if you spell out August 11th, it also equals 180. So there's a double connection there. August 11th spelled out as 180. I don't know which cipher though. And yeah, okay. Another thing, very interestingly enough, obviously we're talking about Freemasons here, and foundations, right? So the foundation of the two towers of the suspension bridge, known as the Golden Gate Bridge, have a dimension of 33 by 54. And that is both 33 and 54 are found in the name London Breed. And let's see here, a couple of things. Before I forget, that shout out to your last caller. He's brilliant. Love his perspective on things. I have this notion about the black seal swimming in the water that saved that jumper. Right. That's doublespeak. It's not a seal. The animal. It's a black magic seal, like the Seal of Solomon.
Huh. Yeah.
And that's the kind of seal we're talking about here. And then another thing on that note is the type of ritual magic that we're working with here seems to be a black form of Enochian magic. Enochian magic, spelled with a magic with a K at the end there, is the correct way. It comes out to 55 and 77 and 113, which is beautiful because, again, Gate of Mercy, Gate of Severity, also Book of Enoch, as well as Enochian magic, as well as Hiram Abiff add up to 55. And 55, again, because, it's a star within a star would be 55. And so the pentagram ritual again. And this is, it seems to be an Enochian magic pentagram ritual. What's really interesting is if you look up Enochian magic seals, what you'll find is it's usually a circle with a heptagram and a heptagon and a heptagon, there's three different seven-sided objects, and then there's a five-sided object in the center of all that. So you have a circle, and then three sevens, and then a five. So the 777 thing, and the Golden Gate, the two G's, G means, 7. And also, if you look at the Masons logo, it's like, it's a compass and a square and another 7. So it looks like 777 in their logo. So those are some things. Before I forget, there's another phrase that I didn't look up before that is applicable is the body of water that the Golden Gate Bridge crosses. It's called the Golden Gate Strait, as in the Bering Strait.
Okay.
And that body of water fits in nicely somehow or another. If I can find it on my notes, I would tell you. But yeah, that phrase definitely. The Golden Gate Strait. Oh, and another thing too is there. One of the. I think you. Oh, right. It's the number of days left in the year after August 11th. Is how many days?
142.
Oh, 142. Okay. Interesting. My bad. I got 124 on that.
I see that Golden Gate Strait's 93. The number that the last caller was talking about is encoded in the film about people jumping from the bridge.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, of course, 93 would be found here, obviously. Yeah, it's all over the place. These guys. Yeah, and then, yeah, I think that's everything, if I'm not mistaken. That I just wanted to give close. Oh, actually, let me just say that 540 also comes out to I don't know what language. I think it's something. It's Mashiach, Mashiyach, which is like the word for the anointed one or the Messiah.
Huh.
And it also comes out to the phrase "a pure heart," which would be a reference to the Christ's heart, right? So that comes out to 540, and it also comes out to 113. And 113 is interesting because they dropped this particular pentagram Enochian cipher ritual at exactly 11:30 a.m. on 1/30.
Huh.
So that ties that into that. Also, 540, the planet Mars written out is 540. That's the god of war.
Right.
And then another thing too is that on 10/3, that's when you did that the cipher on that Trump Serta Sheep commercial. But wasn't it too also the day that they released that article, the 10 secrets about the Golden Gate Bridge?
I'm not sure about that. October 3rd last year was also the date that Trump's presidential alert text went out.
Right. But I'm pretty sure if you look up that article that CNN dropped
10 secrets
on the 10 secrets of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Okay, well, let me see if I can find that again. I do remember what you're talking about. 10 secrets of Golden Gate Bridge. It might have been that day.
I just caught up on all your videos based on August 11th. So it's swimming.
October 3rd. Yeah, you're right. That's what day it was.
Okay, so perfect. That means that the same day that other thing happened, this was also happening. And if you read into this article a little more, now that you know a little bit more about what's going on, there's some really interesting clues. There's a phrase in quotes. It's all call it red instead of the traditional color that it is called International Orange. International Orange is also a fucking weird color swatch name because we have, a crypto Jew international pirate orange. CEO of the Corporation of America right now,
Right.
And so yeah, all call it red in quotes adds up to 113 as well as a pure heart. And another thing, 540 equals Rocket's Red Glare. Rocket's Red Glare is obviously going to be sung at the national anthem at that football or at the baseball game. And yeah, so they'll definitely have the phrase Rocket's Red Glare on that day at that baseball game for sure. Another weird thing is human trafficking equals 540, firestorms equal 540, dead men telling tales equals 540. And then here's where it gets interesting. Piscean Gate closing equals 540, as well as end of the age equals 540. So yeah, this, apocalypse, end of the age, Piscean Gate closing thing, that's all 540. And Holy Bible is also 540. Locust is also 540. The Bible Code is also 540.
Wow.
End of the Age and the Bible Code share Gematria of 90 as well. And 90, clearly, I'm sure it's somewhere else too. I don't know where, but it's important too.
A right angle.
Yeah, and so that's right. The last thing about that that article describing the 10 secrets of the Golden Gate Bridge, they mentioned that like the Navy wanted to paint it black and yellow for high visibility. Black and yellow is the color of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
Tying it back into Pennsylvania.
Right.
Yeah. So there's just like a lot of doublespeak in that article. I have to comb over it again, but there's so much doublespeak in there.
Well, I don't know. So, I don't know where you came from, man, but you're awesome. How long have you been studying, the occult and what's going on in this nation?
Oh yeah, I mean, I do this like esoteric or pretty full time lately. I spend a lot of time, but I did not find Gematria anywhere until I found your channel, which kind of blows my mind. It's very, very like brushed under the rug. But yeah, we live in a very peculiar time, and I get my information from discerned sources that are very, different than what is told to the consensus gentium on the mainstream media.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think we're dealing with Black Enochian magic here. The Book of Enoch connection to the Hiram Abyss and all this, and then I feel like there's like an archetypal geometry that is like a seal that is kind of like mapping this out, and I haven't figured it out fully yet, but it just like it keeps building this like Enochian seal, and that's what all those layers are for, I think some of the ciphers that like the Francis Bacon and the septenary and the satanic are pretty important in those connections here.
Right.
Because they're because of the topics that we're involved in, and the Kabbalah ciphers too,
Absolutely.
But yeah, really, I think that's pretty much. Oh, another thing too is really crazy, man. You brought up this idea that August 11th, 1919 is when the Weimar Republic was established. And they turned into Nazis, right?
Right.
So that would mean that 8/11/19 is exactly the 100-year anniversary of the Nazis.
Right.
And that's just really blowing my mind right there.
They also say that Al Qaeda was established on that date in history, August 11th.
Really? Do you know what year?
Here, let me look it up. Here, I'm not exactly sure on the year, but we can look up real fast. I know that's the establishment date.
Curious.
Let's see. I'm plugging it in real quick. Yeah, I covered this a couple months ago. 1988, August 11th, 1988.
Yeah, 88. Interesting. Totally. Yeah, time travelers, man. Man, and 76 too, and 69. If you see those numbers, 76 is the symbol for Capricorn. So that's Baphomet. That's the number of the devil for sure.
San Francisco.
And 69. And I made a connection with 69, which is I made actually a triangulation of 3 69s. And for some reason, just the existence of 3 69s in this code reminds me of the third deacon of Cancer. And you said your birthday is on the 21st of July?
Yep.
July, yeah.
Yep.
And I just I don't know. And that's last year. That was when the festival of sacrifice was, right? That's where it fell on last year.
Well, Tisha B'Av fell on that last year. I'm not sure the festival of sacrifice did, but the Tisha B'Av did.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, totally. I don't know. Yeah, so I just something about that. The 69 usually reminds me of the Cancer thing. So 3 of them, third deacon Cancer. I mean, July 21st, and that just matches up nicely to that last year.
I want to go back to what you said about 76, because San Francisco was established in 1776. San Francisco equals 76. From that Grim Reaper thing over the Golden Gate Bridge, the day that debuted, July 24th to August 11th, is 383 days, which is the 76th prime.
Yes.
What is it about 76 in Baphomet? How's that work?
Just look up the astrological symbol for Capricorn.
Okay.
The 76th gas station is named after Capricorn.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Just look at the symbol for Capricorn. Some of them are varied, but it looks like a 7 and a 6 combined into one symbol.
I never knew this before.
There are some versions that are slightly skewed where it's hard to perceive this, but there is a traditional symbology for that astrological sign that it looks like a 7 with 6 in it.
Okay, I see. Just looking at it though, I see where you get that from.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen clearer and harder to depict versions of that particular symbol, but yeah, it's definitely the symbol for Capricorn. So
this one's good right here. You can really see it here, 7 and 6.
Yeah. So the 76th gas station to me is like, because Baphomet or Capricorn is like the goat of the sea, right? And so if you're pulling up black liquid out of the ground, it would probably be good to that it might be ruled by the sea goat of the earth,
Sure.
Yeah, and so that's just the oil connection to the 76 is I believe through that Capricorn symbology there.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So and astrology, obviously, very, very important. A lot of overlaps.
Absolutely.
So I haven't done the time yet to compare these dates to the transits of the planets at the time. I haven't looked at a natal chart of August 11th, 2019 yet. At 1:05 p.m. or whatever, but I definitely want to see how the planets are going to be lined up and stuff like that.
That's a good thought when that baseball game's starting. Yeah, great thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you can just type in a natal chart for that and see the whole grid laid out of how the planets are going to be set up that day.
Good thought. I will do that.
Definitely. And I think that's the summation of the closure that I wanted to bring today.
All right, man. Well, I'm really glad you made it here. You're awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. You've really you make me feel like I'm not a lunatic.
Absolutely
wandering the
not.
world alone. Trying to convince these muggles that there is an encrypted codex that is that putting the icing on the cake of decoding the matrix, for everyone. Yeah.
Well, what I can tell is you haven't been at this that long, but you're going to take this study a lot further real fast. I can already see that, so I'm glad you're here.
But I mean, I already have the cake made, this is the icing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I see that.
This is really bringing it all together for me.
I see that.
And it's just, it's blowing my mind, man. But, I'm already warning all my friends to get out of San Francisco on this weekend because it's a real deal, man.
Did you know that in the film Pacific Rim, San Francisco gets attacked on August 11th?
I did briefly hear about that. Yeah, that's a trip, man. Still just a trip, man.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim, I have not seen it yet. Another thing that's just super fucking weird is that last weekend at 9:30 a.m., 93 again, the Grand Lake Theater in Oakland was playing a free screening on both Saturday and Sunday of Manchurian Candidate.
Huh.
And Manchurian Candidate is, and you said that the Temple of Satan was founded here in 1966 in San Francisco?
I believe that's correct.
So an offshoot of that, because I did a lot of time in the pedogate rabbit hole.
Uh-huh.
The one of the founders of MK Ultra is also residing in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Huh.
His name is Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino, and he's
Okay.
the founder of the Temple of Set.
Huh.
And Set is obviously, the Satan of Egypt,
Right.
and this would be, where the sun sets here in the West at the Golden Gate of the West.
Right.
So that's perfectly applicable for that. But yeah, the MK Ultra mind control thing ties into San Francisco through that, man. Unfortunately. And there is a military intelligence facility right by the foot of the Golden Gate Bridge there, near like Chrissy Fields over there. That's like where their headquarters, PSYOP, Psychological Warfare Military Intelligence Facility.
Interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely. There's those ideas as well.
Very cool, man. Glad you called in.
Yeah, thank you for having me. As always, I'm sure I will talk to you soon again.
All right. Take care, friend. Keep it up.
Cheers, mate.
The person who just called in, I'm going to call you back right now. You've been calling a lot. So I'm calling the caller who's been calling.
Hello, Zach.
Hey, you're on, man.
Hey, what's going on? It's so cool. This is what this guy's talking about. Since we go with let me think in the background. Since we talking about San Francisco, how San Francisco and Philly is connected, you know Moses Malone, right? When you think of Moses, you think of the Bible. You know how they like to script their stuff out of Bibles and stuff, right?
Right.
And you know, in the Philly, the 76ers just beat Golden State recently.
Right.
Don't you know that the 76ers are retiring Moses Malone jersey February 28th?
Is that right? What I remember is how when Kobe Bryant played his final game and scored 60 points, it was 213 days after Moses Malone's death. 213 is connected to death in Satanic Gematria. LA is the 213 area code. And Kobe was drafted out of high school like Moses Malone. And Kobe's father played for the Warriors too. So very interesting.
But this is what's so interesting about Moses in reverse full reduction is 28. So what? So did they retire his number on 28?
Right. Yeah, there you go.
Guess who they played? The Nuggets. The Nuggets is 93 in what English or the Nuggets is 93. And when you think about Moses Malone, he started his career off with the Utah Stars.
Right.
When you think of the Stars, you think of outer space, and he ended his career with the San Antonio Spurs. When you think of the Spurs is a 93 team.
That's right.
So from February 28th to August 11th is what, 6 months and 3 days. So I don't know what does 63 mean anything?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of the connection for those guys.
Okay, and I just noticed something. You remember that guy just told you to bring up that Capricorn logo? Look at the 76ers logo and that logo. Don't that look like the 76ers logo?
You're right. I'm going to put it up right now.
So it's crazy how they connect, just like they say, they put mad layers in it. They got it in the basketball. That's why they use these sports for. They got it in the basketball, it's in the football, it's in the baseball. Just think about it. Now, August 11th, what's the odds of that San Francisco Giants will be playing the Philadelphia Phillies, and they having the anniversary of the earthquake team.
Right. It's crazy.
So I just wanted to connect that with the Moses Malone system because of the name Moses and the 2-8 and Philly and San Francisco are connected together.
Great observation.
So do you think it's a connection with that?
It's seemingly yes. I'm gonna have to look more into it.
All right, so I just wanted to bring that up since we connected in Philadelphia and the Bay Area, since they connected in history.
Right.
So I just wanted to bring up that point since the last two callers we talk about how San Francisco and Philly is connected. Because you said Philly is what in the Bible is the Revelation, the Church of Philadelphia.
Right. The Church of Philadelphia gets the letter about the synagogue of Satan.
And plus, you said the Liberty Bell spent some time in San Francisco.
Right.
So, okay. So that's it, Zach. That's all I want to say.
Appreciate it. Great observation. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I still remember the Moses Malone, Kobe Bryant retirement like it was yesterday. Sick ritual. And Kobe played his last game against Utah, the team that drafted Moses Malone. And 60, dead at 60. Kobe scores 60. What did we talk about 60 at the beginning of this video? You know, the N-word 60. So we'll leave it there. Ended up being a pretty long show. Great callers. It's very cool to see you know, more and more people finding out about this work and then using their knowledge to take things further. Feel the synergy. So we're going places, True Seeker. Wrap it up for today. For you sports enthusiasts, be back in the morning. See if we can figure out the Super Bowl score. Do the daily sports decode. All right, everybody, have a great night. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting. Until next time.